Well, good morning, everybody. It's time for our very first matchup of the day here on the B stream. DWG KIA versus Rogue. DWG KIA trying to keep their playoff hopes alive. Rogue looking to clinch a spot as quickly as they can. Nick, talk to me about the last two times these teams battled against each other.
So last time these two people met each other, these two teams rather, was on Bank. It was a very dominant victory from Rogue. It was a 2-7 scoreline, and it seemed like DWG KIA was not prepared at all for Rogue's aggression and Sport, most notably just swinging those angles. But also DWG KIA had a very slow start on day one, a somewhat better day two, but they really need an excellent day three here to have any chance of staying in it and have a chance to go to playoffs.
Now, we went over this during the pre-show, or well, we didn't, but Dev and Mandy did on the main stream. In case you didn't tune in, this is what Group A looks like, since that's what we're going to be focusing on right off the rip. XSET tops the group at the moment. They will be playing next. In the meantime, well, not next, but they will be in the next set of matches. They're not playing right now. It's Rogue versus DWG KIA. As you can see, the landscape of Group A is unsettled. It's very up for grabs. Yesterday, DWG KIA's victory over Ninjas in Pajamas really did throw a wrench in the gears of this group, because it could have been the two Brazilian-dominated teams, even though XSET's North American running away with it. Rogue are in for quite the day ahead of them. But they start off with what should be the easier of the two matches. Nick against Dom1, as Dom1 are currently sitting at the bottom of the group.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, DWG KIA beating NIP really also makes Rogue's life so much easier, because now you see the score points is 6 for Rogue, 6 for NIP. That means that it's anyone's time to take it.
Every single team can make it out of this group still. Nobody has clinched a spot yet, which is in stark contrast to every other group. There's one team in Group B, C, and D who have all clinched their spots. FaZe Clan, W7M, and Elevate have all made their way to the playoffs. And the only team that's been eliminated so far is the Sonics from North America. That means that today, on this stream and over on the main stream, we're going to see 5 teams clinch their spots and 7 more teams go home. It's going to be an exciting day. It's going to be a long day. Yeah. So let's speed things up a little bit. You want to get into the very first match? You bet we do as well. But before we get there, you want to know where we're going to play. The camera's going to shift and stare right into my eyes in just a second as we pull up the map veto and start to whittle down where these teams are going to go. Where did the teams go back in match 1?
Oh, Bank. Different B map, because now today it's Border instead.
Of course we're going to Border.
Yes, we are.
We practiced this.
We practiced this very well. We actually didn't.
We didn't practice this
at all. Very clearly.
They went to Bank.
Yes.
Border is the map that's on the docket. Talk to me about a general Border map. What do you expect? DWG KIA can be a very aggressive team.
Yes.
Rogue, especially led by Spoit here at this event, have shown some teeth on their entry. Do we expect that to translate to a Border matchup?
I think Border's going to get so bloody, right? Like, the only thing that could get even crazier would be Coastline if that was still in the map pool, but it's not. But Border essentially is that new Coastline map where things get really hectic. It's all about the 1-1 gunfights and, of course, the coordination between the attacking team and whatnot. TLDR, if you're on the defensive side, you're in for a very bad time and all those scopes that are available on the attackers and the vertical grenades. I think DWG KIA just have to get really aggressive and just do what they do best in APAC, which is play unpredictable.
Had a hair out of place.
It's fixed up.
Now it's fixed. And we're ready for our matchup. On Border, is somebody going to be out of place on Rogue? Is somebody going to be out of place on DWG KIA? Who knows? But let's spare no expense. Let's waste no time. Let's actually get into Border. This is your and my first time casting Border here. We haven't actually seen this map yet.
And first time on B stream.
Also our first time on B stream, yes. We've been on the A stream for most of it, but it appears that both teams are ready. So let's get things underway.
Send it.
Let's send it. Let's start off with Border. Very first matchup of the day on this channel. I will remind you, if you are one of the few people who have landed here on twitch.tv/Rainbow6Bravo, and you do not know that the main Rainbow Six channel is also going, there are matches over there right now that you can go and tune into, should you so please. It's going to be an exciting day of Rainbow Six. Who's playing over there? It's Eminem.
Eminem's someone.
Very good.
Yeah, because I heard them talk about Eminem. I actually don't know who the opposing team is today.
The one thing that we've been trying to do is we've been trying to update you, the viewer, less than usual on the other games. I know that when you're taking in the group stages and you're watching, right? You're watching.
Uh-huh.
Maybe you don't want a spoiler. Maybe you don't care about what's going on. Maybe you don't even care about those teams. Maybe that's possible. The one thing that we've been trying to do very actively over the last 3 days of groups is we have not been spoiling the matches. So a lot of times we are actually completely oblivious as to what games are going on in the other stream because we are using a laser-like focus, just like DPAC is in the bottom of your screen. A laser-like focus at the monitor. That's us with the matches that we're casting. As we start off on border, Rogue will begin on defense. Operator bans are in. Nicholas Pickles. And a zombie ban is one thing that stands out. Nothing else, really. Everything's kind of ordinary, but Nomad is not an operator that is banned all that frequently. Why, oh why, would Rogue ban out a Nomad?
Unironically, Nomad also isn't played that often on border across the board. Now, this could be a DWG KIA specific situation where you want to target ban this particular operator. I think in general, you know, because Rogue is starting on defense, they want to be allowed more freedom to work around the map, the flanks, etc., especially around that east stair section of the map. By removing Nomad, you're giving yourself more opportunities to get aggressive and retake ground from the attackers. One thing to note is DWG, like you mentioned, laser focused in the round. He is most likely the #1 player when it comes to spending time on drones and cameras. He's also, in my eyes, the #1 Echo player currently at this event. He's won multiple rounds for Rogue by using his yokai stuns at that 0-second mark as the enemy team is planting. So let's keep an eye on DWG throughout this defensive half. If Echo goes on the board, if that information becomes available to Rogue, let's see what they can do with it. But as you mentioned earlier, it's a very gun-heavy map of border. That's why we see the Oryx and Leon Gitz, the Alibi on Sport, and just again, across the board, 1.5x scopes. Look at this. No shotgun on DWG has the MP5K. No shotgun on Cryan has the MPX. The only shotgun available right now is the secondary shotgun of both the Oryx and the Alibi, which enables all 5 members to take gunfights comfortably across the board with those scopes.
The one operator other than Oryx that really jumps to mind is what the Warden will do against this lineup of DWG KIA. There's not a lot of operators that are being brought out that I really think a Warden is a good counter for. There's no smokes being brought. There's only 2 sets of flashbangs, of which they will likely be used for fodder for the magnets. There's no there's no Jaeger on the board, so Wamai is going to be your only anti-gadget that's present because there's also no Aruni. So these are some cool changes.
Some cool changes indeed.
Some cool changes, but the Warden pick, I imagine, being brought out as a precaution to deal with what might come their way. In this particular instance, while the attackers can change up to suit whatever's brought by the defense, not the same for Rogue. They are locked into these 5 picks, and they are already well off site. Kanto Raketti, are we going to see Lanto Raketti return?
Yes.
Well, there's a first kill on the Woogie Man, but Yas shuts him down. First kill goes to Kanto, but it's traded swiftly.
It's a good trade indeed, but I mean, Kanto's getting 1 kill there in that very, very dire position. It's actually not that bad for him, but Ren here, walking in towards the bottom side, the beat boop goes off, which gives away his location. He's going to dip back out because he's afraid of Rogue lashing back at him. Rogue holding on. This office wall is open up. There's a soft wall, I believe, either way. There is now an angle to be had for the attack inside. Actually, I think Katsang, rather, used those Hibana X Kairos to open it up. It was indeed triple reinforced. DWG next here. Stuck in a corner, has a C4, hatch open beneath him. He can drop if he wants to, but it's also a matter of staying for as long as possible. Great timing there. The moment DWG KIA pushes on in, that's when DWG drops and survives. Sport gets found, rather, so does Cryan. It's a 2v4 for Rogue.
And suddenly DWG KIA showing signs of brilliance after they surrender that very first pick. More shades of them against Ninjas in Pajamas, leaving Leon Gitz to die alone. The Korean team, desperate for those 6 points which are available today. Pick up round #1.
When Rogue played yesterday on Theme Park against XZ, they had a very hard time when they were on the defensive side of Theme Park, which is very surprising because Theme Park is a very defender-sided map. It's why G2 could come back from a 1-5 deficit, that when they went on to defense, they could win all of their rounds. Rogue needs to find success at least a couple of times on defense on border, which isn't easy by any means, because it is an attacker-favored map. It's a situation where attackers normally just steamroll through it, and unless the defenders find a clutch or a huge play somewhere on the map, it can be very hard to find victory in these rounds. But most importantly for Rogue, as well as DWG KIA, is going to be the mental aspect of these best of ones. If you're finding yourself down 0-3, 0-4, etc., they can be very tough to come back and find yourself comfortable in the server. So these opening rounds is going to set the mood for these teams, and it comes down to, can you keep those vibes high? And you said earlier, Parker, that when you walked by Rogue earlier today, high spirits.
Whoa. I said that in private.
I'm very sorry, but that is public now, okay?
You're leaking the DMs. Technically not leaked DMs, because we actually talked about this face-to-face here. Yes, I actually walked to the venue this morning with Rogue. Yes, we walked, because we live in a continent where wonking is possible.
Yeah,
we don't live, I don't live in the continent. They actually do. But either way, we walked over to the venue, and their spirits were very high, I gotta say. It's very easy for a team like Rogue to get dejected, and one of the things that they've worked on an awful lot are these debriefs with their mental coaching. Yes. And that has paid huge dividends for Rogue, and I think if you've watched EUL over the last couple stages, it's one thing you're going to pick up on very quickly on. This is not the sad boy Leon Gids, the upsetty Kanto spaghetti kind of team.
No.
The vibes are good. This is a team that can keep themselves even keel, and if they can seize on that momentum and keep themselves level-headed, they are going to be competitive in every single round. Now, competitive is one thing, because mentally you want to be in the match, but you have to physically be present, and your guns need to be a little bit better than they were in the very first round. Not a good start, as Leon Gids gets shut down by Coded on entry, and the first pick surrendered by Rogue, gained by DWG KIA.
Yeah, it was a very deep angle from Workshop all the way into that bathroom rotate, and that's going to be the side player of Rogue off the board. That now means the roamers have to kind of come closer towards that bomb site and consolidate more, because you can't really give it up. Sport forced into an aggressive play here. It gets found out. There's two members holding him down, but he's so much better in that 1v1 and finds the head of Rin.
Unbelievable stuff. Katsang with Diffuser down as Rogue's attention is elsewhere, so under their very noses, the objective will go. Coded doing significant damage to Spoit, both of them walking away. A little worse for wear, but they're both wearing it well. Nitro Cell expended from Deepak as we hit the 35-second mark for that Diffuser. Woogieman with one. Coded traded out. Woogieman a second. That LMG in the hands of Gridlock doing so much damage inside a lobby. 3 kills. Kanto Raketti, can you shut it down? No, how about a 4K? DWG KIA sweeps through lobby, and they take their second round in a row.
The LMG goes rat-tat-tat-tat-tat, 4 kills in a single magazine. But not just that, the plant was great from DWG KIA. The moment they found that kill onto Leon Gids, they recognized the one side player is off the board. That means either the roamers have to aggress somewhere else, that's what Spart was doing, pushing down that bottom main stairs, or they will have to try and make their way back towards the bomb site. But because of Woogieman's position inside of Passport, he basically shut down that entire rotation back towards the bomb site itself. So that meant that DWG KIA knew it was completely clear. He just jumped on in, got down that Diffuser, and well, they didn't need the post plant because Woogieman just popped up at 4 kills. But if it came down to it, they were in a great position to play that post plant in that 4 versus 5. Now Rogue, nothing's really quite working out. They started Armory, they went Tellers. Now they're going back upstairs again, trying to find some success on their border defense. Same operator lineup as the first time around. 1.5 scopes across the board, secondary shotguns, and bringing out only a single shield. That's going to be on Sport on that alibi. Right now, it's DWG KIA just doing a really good job in the first minute of the round. In the very opening round, sure, Kanto got the first kill, but an instantaneous trade from DWG KIA, even back the man count to 4 versus 4. In that second round, DWG KIA found 2 kills rather swiftly, and it made Rogue have a very hard time finding a footing back into it.
I think for me, I'm more confused as to what Rogue was doing to allow the Diffuser to get planted in the first place, Nick. There were still 4 players up. The only player that we saw that had his attention turned away from where that objective was going down was Spoit, who wasn't part of any defensive setup on the bomb site. He's going to play off. He's going to hold map control. He's going to try to slow down the entry from DWG KIA, which seemed to be a job he was doing quite well in that engagement that he had against Coded. But where were the other 3 players on Rogue? Where was Deepak? Where was Kanto? Where was Cryan? What were they doing to try and stop that Diffuser from being waltzed into the site and very gingerly laid down? That's where things really went from bad to worse. Certainly not lobby, because, as you recall, that's where Woogieman was with those 4K, with the 4K happening. LG in hand. This time around, round number 3. The assault will be back upstairs onto Armory. The focus on Office to start off with. Deepak, the first line of defense there for Rogue.
Yeah, but he's gone. Just like that. Cody just jumps in the window right behind him. Does not hear that vault from him. It's a freebie once again from DWG KIA. And Rogue didn't really have anybody nearby to really assist Deepak in that corner because I think they were expecting him to drop when things got too heated, but he got shut down before he could make the decision.
Rin gunned down by Leon Gids. We're back at even numbers. Spoit now taking up space inside of Office, watching the hard breach that has been created. It's Kanto inside the same spot, but he gets gunned down by Yas. DWG KIA keeping an advantage to a certain extent. Spoit shrugging off a little bit of bullets, but look at that angle from Wargy, man. Nothing to do for that, Spoit. You're going to have to be playing a bit more proficient. Cryan will now swing. When you're at such a deficit, you've got to swing or be swung. If Leon Gids and Cryan played a little bit more conservative style defense, they would very likely be hunted down and picked off simply based on numbers. Leon Gids on Oryx can get out of there quite quickly, and he'll need to do so as now he's lost Cryan in a 1v4 that becomes an 0v4. Rogue just really struggling to get kills on the board here, and this is a quick match as DWG KIA are up 3-0.
There is this thing when you are the opening game that is, you know, not even 11 AM right now. And for gamers, this is really, really early. And this is like a really old excuse in saying that some teams and some players just can't find their footing early on the day because they're not quite awake yet. But this really is not that simple. This is DWG KIA playing some of their best Rainbow Six Siege at the event so far. Finding openings, good aggression, covering side with EMPs, getting good lines of sight with the breach, covering every single angle, because if you notice, DWG KIA will open up doors and windows, sit around and wait. And half the kills they're finding are simply Rogue not really knowing exactly whereabouts the members of DWG KIA are. Like, for example, Kento Arcade playing inside of 90, walked into break room thinking, this is a safe area, JK. On the break door, there's a member just waiting for Kento to overextend himself, and then it was a completely free kill for them, and then Rogue once again find themselves in a terrible position. So unless these gunfights go differently, I don't see how DWG KIA is going to start losing these rounds, and Rogue, they need to start winning some rounds on the table here, because 3-0 is not a great look.
Sluggish start, but you got to keep the mental game up. We're just waiting on one player of DWG KIA who's having some difficulties to get...
It's Rin.
It is. Rin has somehow found himself out of the lobby. I don't know exactly what's going on.
A blue screen, I believe, was set in chat by the members of DWG KIA that said, yeah.
Well, nobody wants a sad screen.
A sad screen?
Do you think the screen's feeling kind of blue?
Feeling kind of blue?
A special kind of blue. Some days, we all get sad. Rin is back in the lobby now, insta-locking the Ash, but again, we will remind newer viewers that attacker repick exists, so the lineup that's being brought by the attack can be changed at any point in the prep phase, barring the final 5 seconds when your lineup is then solidified and locked in. Downstairs to ventilation and workshop, as this timeout from Rogue has likely imbued them with some new strategies. Meepy, the coach behind them, guiding them forward. They are very quickly losing the plot of this match. DWG KIA have looked so formidable on their entry. Formidable through the mid-round. Formidable through the end of round. Rogue have only mustered 4 kills in the first 3 rounds. That's a huge problem for this team when you've got accomplished fraggers on this squad. All of these players on Rogue can go toe-to-toe with the best of the best on any given day. Not so far through these 3 rounds. DWG KIA just way better.
I want to say, with Rogue banning Asami, I am very curious as to why they're not playing the castle at all, because the issues that they're having is that everything's opened up. Every door, every window, line to side, etc. You can deny that with Asami, but you've chosen to ban her out. Fair enough, that's your choice because you think that DWG KIA are going to use that to great effect when they get on their defense, but castle is still open. You have no reason not to use it, because DWG KIA, if they want to, they can as well. But let's see what Rogue can do. They have a different train of thought in mind. They're playing this aggressive style, which so far was shut down really well by DWG KIA. The first 45 seconds, DWG KIA go very slowly towards the building. They're avoiding spawn peaks and falling early on. Then, once they start applying this pressure, once they get that first wall opened up, ever since that happens, that's usually when they're in full control.
Give me your thoughts on this Warden pick, because this has been a staple of Rogue's border defense, but if you look at the lineups that DWG KIA have brought time and time again, doesn't really necessitate a Warden as a response to any of it. And unless they just have simply done some counter-stratting on border that we are unaware of, the Warden seems almost sub-optimal for what is being brought from the attackers.
The way I see Warden being played mostly right now in Siege is that it's more of like a prevention pick. By picking up the Warden, you might prevent the Ying from coming into play, the smoke grenades, etc. Woogieman has played Gridlock most of these rounds. He does have 2 smoke grenades. The Warden being picked just makes that even, well, less valuable, if you will. It might be a case of that. Of course, you get the 1.5x on the MPX, you get a shield or a C4. So on secondary utility, Warden is actually quite valuable as well.
Don't know how good the smokes have been.
No, they haven't.
How powerful the smokes have been.
Haven't needed them.
They really haven't, no.
Them.
I mean, if you're gunning down your opponents...
They misdroned the Fountain member, by the way. Cryan is hiding successfully in this corner. They have no idea.
Learning from Nip. If you saw Spoit's tweet saying that Nip were a bunch of rats, inciting the entirety of the Brazilian fan base. First kill goes to Leon, by the way. He could have a second, but he just misses out on the head of Cat saying... With a soft wall, Leon could have gotten a bullet pen kill, but the opportunity evades him. Still trapped inside a bathroom. He's got a way out if he decides to go through the back of Workshop. Katsang will be the one to drone in. Their attention is on Leon, which gives even more power to the offsite players. Cryan has not been droned upstairs. Rin is so close, but look at this. Oh no, Kanto turns around, pivots onto Rin. Down goes DWG KIA. The timeout for Rogue seemingly working with 30 seconds left.
So far, so good. Got the man advantage, but still things can go south really quickly because DWG KIA just needed 1 or 2 kills to get the openings, and it will happen for the first one, but it's messy.
I don't know what Spoit is doing there. In the same hallway, but takes a confrontation, loses it a second kill for Leon. Still inside a bathroom. Woogieman could be next in line. Wouldn't it be nice to have a Warden to see through that smoke right now, but Spoit is as good as gone. Banshee opens up as Woogieman inches his way towards the bomb site, a long-range angle from Leon, but it's Cryan for the kill, and Cryan will get it. Yas survives, but the round goes in favor of Rogue, and they're finally on the board.
But they are 1-3 currently. Now, you can tie it back to or up to a 3-3 equal situation here for the first half, which is great if you're defending on border. Going forward too, again, if you're looking at it statistically, not the end of the world. So we just have to keep track of whether DWG KIA keeps showing up on their early entries, because that's where they found their success. On that last previous round on ventilation, nothing really happened for the first minute and 15 seconds. Then all of a sudden, well, Leon got that kill through the wall, and then things kind of fell apart from there. DWG KIA did not really find their footing, did not get comfortable on ninja points, and most importantly, they didn't clear the top floor of Armory Archives, which is where we are currently, which you kind of need on a ventilation attack typically, because all that verticality, the hatches being opened up, etc., it makes the bomb site so hard to attack directly. And as a result, well, they lost the round. Round 5, Rogue's 3rd time on Armory. Let's see if this one is the lucky one.
5 seconds remaining.
It was a huge boon for Rogue. Down below, you see the probability. 73% for Rogue if they win in regulation. Still only a 4% shot for DWG KIA.
That's tough.
That is very tough.
But it is possible.
So you're saying
there's a chance.
4% is about the longest of odds that you can possibly get before hitting 0.
Yes.
There's 3 numbers, obviously, that are smaller than that. But 3 numbers that are smaller than that. But
yeah,
it's pretty close, too. DWG KIA can effectively play spoiler, though, and that, I think, is something that is more likely. A 4% chance of making it to playoffs for DWG KIA is terribly small, and I don't think fans of the team are really coming into today thinking it will happen. Obviously, they're going to be hoping it will happen, but not necessarily thinking so. However, that 4% means that while DWG can't make it, beating Rogue opens the door for Nip to start racking up points and making it. Or DWG losing to Rogue and then winning their next matchup could potentially throw this entire group into chaos. Obviously, the focus for the Korean team as they started today's matches, make it to the playoffs, as unlikely as it is. They've got a good start. Rogue picked up that 1 round after a timeout. Oh,
that's so awkward.
No. Kanto Raketti drops through the hatch after it blows open from Yas. And it's Kanto in quick pursuit. Another grenade pulled out. What? And Kanto will swing. Yes, you should have won that. How do you misplay that?
Oh, my.
The damage done to the hatch and the damage done to Kanto is so small. Rin could have been there for backup, but no, too far away. Kanto's still in the same position, and there you go. Rin was prepared. Rin was ready. Kanto takes one down before he gets vanquished. Kanto has almost the same amount of kills as the rest of his team combined.
Looked like Kanto was chasing his own tail. He was going around that box a couple of times. You're like, what exactly is going on right now? And the grenade, I thought was going to take him out just right then and there, but must have missed the mark.
Kanto is very puppy-like.
He is very puppy-like.
He is very puppy-like. Oh, nice shot from Cryan all the way from the top floor down to East Stairs. Say goodbye to the big bad Woogie Man. Rin down below with soft destruction in spades, shooting away at the feet of the Legion. There goes one of the goo mines to give information, but there also goes Cryan, so the culprit of those mines no more. Another goo mine goes off with 30 seconds left. These become increasingly more powerful. It slows you down. You can't plant. You can't sprint. Katsang has access to the diffuser. Coded and Rin will need to cover. The entry will come over from Armory Wall. You see plenty of soft walls as Rin split pushes effectively, but gives his position away inside of Office. And he's boxing shadows right now. Spoit with the DMR in hand does some substantial damage. Leon gets a kill of his own. Everybody getting in on this, and Leon collects a second to end the round. And suddenly it's Rogue streaking as they've won 2 in a row.
Rogue also getting very loud when they're winning these rounds. I think they recognize that 0-3 start, that was hard and mental. So when they are finding these moments of victory, they are really embracing those and bringing up the vibes too. And I was watching their game last night when they were playing against Exit on Theme Park, and when Rogue were losing rounds, they were fist bumping, very passionate. And I was like, oh, they won. And then I'm like, oh, wait, no, they didn't win the round. But it's very important for them as a unit, as a team, as a collective, to make sure that everyone is feeling good inside the server throughout the entire game. And if you want to look at this stat board right down the right-hand side of your screen, Daypek, for example, is 0-3. He is a quote-unquote support player for the team. He normally does a lot of drone work, assistance, etc. But when you're having a less than perfect game, or not really finding your kills on the board, it can be very enjoyable when your teammates are really bringing you up, is keeping the spirits high in those trying times. Whereas on DWG KIA's side, every single member has successfully gotten their first kill, successfully gotten on the scoreboard. But we'll get a quick rehost for you. Should only take about 1 minute and 35.5 seconds before we get back into the server, because these players have been rather swift at these rehosts at this event so far. And I think both DWG KIA and Rogue, they have no intention of taking a quote-unquote timeout here and taking a slow turn, because they both want to get back into the server and find this final round on the first half. Yeah,
big ups to our observers, by the way, for all the action that they've been catching. As tireless as the hours that you think the players and the talent put in, our jobs are significantly easier than the people you don't see on the broadcast. The production team in particular, as well as the observers, are burning the midnight oil more often than not. And I think they've put on an excellent show for you. So as much as we are the voices that you hear, and as much as the players are the visual that you see, it's impossible for all of this to happen. It's impossible for Nick and I to speak, and it's impossible for these teams to compete against each other if it wasn't for the unsung heroes who are not on screen.
Yeah, I want to say that observers is like the actual GOATs, 100%. It's for the casting experience, it's for the viewing experience, and for everything else included. And it's a very hard job, and thankless job as well at that. So thank you, Mr. Observers, all 3 of you here, and for any observer out there who does this job.
Well, 2, because the joke yesterday that we said was every single time I walked out of the casting booth, Medics was just lounging. And I said, are you even working? Do you even work here? And it turns out that he's been spectating the games on the other stream when we've been casting, and I looked like a fool.
When we saw him yesterday, when he was actually working, he made sure to make a whole thing. He's like, hey guys, I'm working. Look, over here, right now, working.
He whispered sultry things in our ears, too. At one point, he just whispered, Arukaze. When we were casting the Sandbox game, it was like sweet syrup poured into our ears, wasn't it?
It was wonderful.
We'll get back into the lobby now. The sad thing with the rehost is that we lose access to all of the stats that the players had. Kanto Raketti was actually top frag on the team prior to the rehost, so it's Lanto Raketti back in fine form. Spoit having an uncharacteristically slow start to this match. He has been towards the bottom of his team with Deepak. Leon Gids putting in a good effort. Cryan getting a couple very impactful kills, but Kanto has really been the star of the show. On DWG KIA's side of things, Woogie Man, the absolute standout performer, as has been the case through a couple lands now. The rest of DWG KIA putting in an even, I would say, bit of contributions, but none carrying as much weight as Woogie Man was.
It's the Woogie Man!
Oh, you just hear Ace say it, isn't it?
Objective
Yeah.
to locate a bomb and defuse it.
Look at the stats real quick coming into today. Kanto was doing pretty good in that KD plus-minus board, but...
Actually, Nick, he was doing well. To say he do good or does good is to say that he makes kind gestures or does things that are morally virtuous. Whereas to say he does well, Nick, is to say that he's doing his job proficiently.
All right, he is doing fantastic.
That's a good one. I like that one right there. Let's go with that.
I'll
That's
give you a
good.
fist bump for
That's
it.
a little
Boom.
fist bump right there.
He is plus-minus 13 before this game started. He is +3 on the injury. He's no longer in that top 5 contention, really, but he is, of course, finding himself in a great position statistically, which a player like Kanto Raketti needs. He's an emotional player, emotional guy, as you said, like a puppy like. And Kanto can get in his own head when he's not doing great, which most players can, of course, but I think everyone is having a great time watching the old Lanto being back, and in his opening game with Rogue, he was playing Ashe. And it's one of those like Kanto on Ashe at LAN event, finding like 10+ kills in a single map. There's something about it brings me back to like 2019, 2020 era that really brings joy to my heart. Maybe biased because he was my teammate, but either way, happy to see it. Cody with his grenade in hand, gonna go flying across the board, does not get the shield. Doesn't find Kanto Raketti either, who's on that alibi 1.5x. It's his turn to have fun with that operator. Rogue still the aggressive lineup on the defensive side. DWG KIA haven't really flexed around too much. It's mostly been Katsing playing either Hibana or Ace, and then Rin playing Sophia or Ashe. Other operators are staying the same. Koda and Sledge, Yas on the Iana, and the Woogieman on the Gridlock, which I imagine is because the Nomad is banned out. That is typically the substitute operator for that scenario.
Yeah, there's a lot of flexibility on this pick. I mean, Woogieman doesn't need to play a dedicated anti-flank operator, right? Nomad is not a requirement on border. Gridlock is not a requirement on border. Zero is also an anti-flank operator in a lot of instances too, in a very different manner though.
Yeah.
The only downside to an operator like Zero is that it's not a passive gadget. If you're Gridlock and you throw down the track stingers, you don't need to babysit them. If you are Nomad and you shoot out an air jab, you don't need to babysit it. Those Argus cams, you got to watch them. So you need somebody actively sitting on flank watch, in which case, a lot of people would argue, let's just keep somebody on flank watch. Let's maybe get a Yana in and then move them to flank watch. Ashe used to be a flank watch operator. Hold on a second. This round has flown by. First kill coming out from Yas.
And
Diffuser planted and suddenly coated with 2 kills as Rogue tries to get towards the bomb site, leaving Kanto and Cryan to twist and turn. But right now, the twisting and the turning is working quite well. 2 kills for them. Rogue keeping the numbers close, but the timer is the biggest foe. Yas up top. He sees the alibi. Down goes Kanto Raketti. Cryan will need to clutch out. An impactless kill potentially from Cryan unless he can get 2 more. He's got 13 seconds before he hits the point of no return on the diffuser. Woogieman guarding inside of lobby. Cryan knows or thinks he knows that somebody's in there, misses an opportunity, and he goes for broke before Yas, the first player in the server to get a kill, also the last player in the server to get a kill. DWG KIA won the first 3 rounds in a row. Rogue called a timeout, and guess what? They started streaking. That streak is now broken as the first half is in the books, and it's DWG up 4-2.
that it is. 4-2 in defense, not the end of the world. Both teams have a very good shot at winning this matchup on border. We spoke about Ying earlier and Warden being played out, and Daypick is showing us currently the Ying in play, or rather, in the drone phase. It's a possibility of a play. You can, of course, get a Tiger repick off it. So, yes, this is typically why you want to bring the Warden on the defense, so that if you drone out the defending operation, you see a Warden go, maybe we shouldn't play in the circumstance. Might not be an issue because Daypick is considering other options, of course. And yes, DWG KIA in their opening round first defense on Bathroom Tellers are choosing to bring the castle. This right here, in my opinion, is a really green flag, if you will. It's a very positive sign because with Asami being banned out, as mentioned earlier, you're going to have some sort of utility, some way to leverage these angles that are going to be opened up because of it. Castle has 4 barricades now. That was a buff that happened about 8 months ago, if not a little longer than that. And you can now castle over regular barricades and windows to speed up your barricading process as well. And it's going to help you compartmentalize the map and choose which half you care about, which half you do not, and what lines of sight the attackers can use. Cryan doing his best impression of a sneaky snake creeping around from archives very quickly.
And close to the first encounter, but he gets spotted by Woogieman. The DMR is too much to handle. Cryan wanted to fly under the radar. Turns out, flew too close to the sun. Wrong target. First kill goes to DWG KIA. 30 seconds into the round, they've already got a small opening. The assault from Rogue will continue onto this armory wall. Drones going out, hard destruction going out as well as the very distinct sounds of the Selma go off as they drop. Much of this focus from Rogue will be on clearing out the top floor before they pivot towards that bathroom bomb site down below. Leon Gids, next one in line of sight for Rogue. As this damage done from DWG KIA, but not enough to secure a kill. Leon Gids loses about 30% to 40% of his HP. Spoit now falls as well. DWG KIA suddenly motivated to a level that we haven't seen before, putting on a clinic against Rogue. No damage done to a single player on DK at this point.
It did. Got those T-Bird stations that can heal you back up. The Kona stations.
K-Kona.
K-Kona. Leon Gids can use one of those because he's taking a bit of damage earlier from that wall bank from Rin into the break room wall. Kento having a hard time cleaning the top floor here. The Jammers denying the information. The Katsang finding a third member of Rogue means that Kento and Daypeg are 2 versus 5. They got time to work with, but that's about all they have. Limited drone, limited information, limited guns.
Kanto spending a lot of time apparently in the shooting range as he lights up the wall and then finally secures onto Rin. That's the first kill for Rogue, but you don't have a lot of time left to work with. Precious little, 1 minute to go. Rogue outnumbered by a large margin. Diffuser picked up. Their setup being done down in the site. Kanto has an idea as to where Katsang lays, but cannot get any confirmation. Instead, it's a drop down to lobby. No time to drone, and in fact, no drones available. Only 2 sit in the pockets of Rogue members, and all those Rogue players with drones are dead. So instead, it will be dry peek after dry peek as Kanto is the first one to walk in. D-Back's position given away by a goo mine. Wait for the castle of Katsang to pop up. He's a rat. There you go. Doesn't even need to move a muscle. Still prone. Laying down, taking it easy. That's Kanto Raketti, the unfortunate beneficiary of that aggression. D-Pack losing some HP as he takes down Yasp. 3 more players from DWG KIA to be found. Inside events, nice kill, but these are impactless at the moment. He can take as many down as he wants, but can he find 3 in the final second? No, he can't. Woogieman finds him, and it's the same gun on either side, but it's Woogieman to come out ahead. DWG KIA stretch their lead. They're closing in on match point, denying Rogue 3 very crucial points as an outside run towards the playoffs for DWG KIA looks likely to begin.
This is a very similar story of one we've seen a couple of times before. The opening kill tells a very heavy favor of a story. So far, if DWG KIA finds success early on, they typically get the round. If Rogue finds early success and gets those early kills, they find the round. Because Border and how it works, it's very momentum-based. It's a very big map. You're stretched quite thin as a defending team usually. So either you're going to have 2 members near each other. Likely if one dies, the other one is completely screwed as you're fighting 1 versus 3. Or you're spread very thin, which means that if you were to get into a gunfight, it's all up to you to win that. If you don't, no one's going to trade you back. So usually, once something starts happening in the round, it's going to sway heavily in one side or the other. In that previous round, the first DWG KIA defense was the opening kill onto Cryan, who was walking through archives, started off that ball, that snowball, if you will. A C4 then from below found the second member of Rogue, and then Rogue could never find a proper way back into the round because they couldn't find any isolated members, and then they just end up losing their individual gunfights, and therefore that advantage got bigger and bigger against them, and as we all saw, they lost the round. 5-2 as round 8 is underway. It's gonna be similar approach for Rogue, but this time Daypig is on the Ying, so it's more execution based of an operator.
Spoit's having a really rough game. He's had, I think, only 2 kills so far through the entirety of the game. 3 maybe was my count prior to the server being reset. Something worth talking about is, after we mentioned the Nomad ban, how the Finka ban might be affecting Rogue as well. But Finka bans are becoming a bit more common, especially at international play. It's exposing Lamicki Finka mains.
No, not again.
We're on Fraud Watch. Is Spoit Lamicki fraudster? Is he?
I want to say no, because Rogue actually is one of the few teams in the EWL that bans Finka almost every single match themselves, and then Spoit will just play operators like Iana usually. So they are quite well prepared for this.
It's almost like I asked about the Finka ban,
but
to bring that up.
In this case, maybe Spoit needs the finger against Demon KIA in particular, because they are very formidable in those 1v1 gunfights. They're very accurate and very precise in their gunplay.
It's a tale as old as time, by the way, as a Nitro Cell goes off. A caster will ask a clarifying question to get their partner to say something, and then people turn around and be like, actually, they always ban Finka in Terrell. What are you saying? And it's like, it's almost like I set Nick up to talk about that. How crazy is that? First bit of contact could have occurred, but Yas is adept enough to dodge it right now, playing by that half wall inside of Armory, blinded out by a Candela, but there's a nade to go in. It does not do enough damage. A second one will follow up. There it goes. Kanto secures and then finds a second for his trouble. This is Lanto Richetti. 2 kills, very quick succession. Another blinded from DWG KIA. That's the Mira of Coded, unable to see, blinded by the light. More flashbangs getting tossed in. There's some smokes from the Twitch.
Oh my God.
And suddenly, diffuser being planted in the hands of Leon Giggs. Woogieman doing some damage. No, can't try as best as he wants. Rogue 2 kills Woogieman in a 1v5 that becomes a 1v4. We've seen a 1v5 clutch here so far in Berlin. Can we see another unfold in front of our eyes? Is Woogieman the player to do it? To the top of main stairs. No, the answer is he cannot do it. Cryan shuts him down. Woogieman just simply had a little bit too much on his plate. And that's Rogue keeping themselves alive in this matchup, denying DWG KIA match point.
Kanto doing a great job there. Recognized that the first nade probably didn't get the injure, although I thought it would get that or the kill. Toss out the second grenade. That one hit the mark.
That's the second nade that has not done the damage that you would think. The first one was actually on Kanto Richetti. When he was sitting on the hatch as Thorn, you would have assumed that that nade would have killed him. Instead it did, what, 20 damage, 30 damage?
None.
And he dropped. That nade onto Yas only did about 30 damage as well. Who's putting dummy nades in the game? Who's doing this? I demand answers.
Demand answers all you want, Parker. You're not going to get them, because we don't know these things.
I demand answers. Why you deprive me of the things I asked for?
You're just a caster, Parker. You're not integral to this, okay? Anyone can talk about the game. Yeah?
Oh boy, that's a loaded phrase. Anybody can talk about the game.
Yeah, they can. Technically, that's not wrong.
Don't say that. The Redditors, they'll go wild.
They already do. You know it's...
5 seconds remaining.
The Mickey casters.
The Mickey casters.
That brief period of time, as the prep phase ends, and we go into live action here in round number 9. That brief period of time after Demo started saying La Mickey region and stuff like that, the subreddit was unreadable. Because it was just nonstop La Mickey this, La Mickey that. Why don't you La Mickey some grass, okay? Why don't you go outside and do that? We'll touch it.
Okay.
We'll touch the grass.
I'll let you know that there ain't a lot of grass in Vegas, Parker, so I need help. I think
it's dry sand.
Yeah,
there's some
sand and rocks.
Yeah, red rocks.
Yeah, Red Rock Mountain is the thing.
That's correct. Nook coming back out yet again, this time in the hands of a different player. Spoit engaging the hell as you see the timer begin to run down. And what is Spoit up to? He's already breached his way on the balcony. And I think he might have seen one of the silhouettes over by Office that went into Fountain. Spoit will be hunting for that. Rogue droning out that portion of the map. This is a Vents Workshop defense. So you need to take control of that top floor if you want to pull off a successful execute. That is Rogue's focus right now. You can see that they've assembled to do just that. Stacked up outside on top of Vehicle Customs. You've got Kanto Richetti on the outside stairs. And now you got Spoit encroaching upon the defense. And he find a loophole here to exploit. A hole in the defense. Coda goes down to Kanto Richetti. That was not the first person that we thought would be involved in any type of gunfight. Cryan breaks open some of Armory Wall. DWG KIA had a player up top, but they seem to have vacated the premises. That was the mute that had died. So now DWG KIA have a loose hold on the top floor. Instead, they will have the pulse of Woogieman down below calling for them, giving information, and he spots... Who is that? Is it the ace of Leon Giggs? A Nitro Cell could go out. Wrong target.
Yeah. The thing is, Rogue right now is that Leon Giggs using 2 breaching charge inside of security is not really the greatest thing because that's the only vertical destruction that Rogue has, really. So they can use some grenades, maybe some Sophia if there's any left, but there's going to be very limited amounts of verticality onto the bomb site itself. But if they keep finding these kills, that's not going to matter much. Spoit finds Katsang inside the open area. And the post look has a C4. Kanto is firing on all cylinders right now. Was top gunning before the rehost and doing it so right now as well with 6 kills to his name. Wookieman and Yaz has to find 5 members of Rogue with 30 seconds to go. Rogue can take all the time they need because they're in a comfortable position to get down that diffuser.
Oh, Wookieman killed from behind. He turns his back to Deepak, and could it be a flawless round? No. Spoit taken out by Yas. So much more to be done. There's been an abundance of 1v4s in this matchup. I don't know what is going on today. Leon gets the halfway point with the diffuser in hand. Yas boxed out of the bomb site. It's a huge round from Deepak as Rogue are streaking yet again. 2 in a row. They've been unable to win more than 2 consecutive rounds. They're going to need to keep up that momentum if they want to force overtime. DWG KIA, in response to those 2 rounds being lost, will throw up a timeout. And they'll discuss what went wrong and what they can do to salvage 2 of the remaining 3 rounds. Because if DWG KIA do not win in regulation, they are done.
Yeah. Then they're going to be going home, no longer going to playoffs, no chance anymore if that would be the case. And Kenta Arcade in particular right now, finding all those opening kills, really setting Rogue up for success. If he's not finding them, no one else seems to be. So if DWG KIA can shut down Kenta Arcade, or at the very least, stay up for a bit longer, get a trade going, that could be one of the ways that they can find more momentum. You see Rogue on your screen, fist bumps going out, maybe a chance to talk, because when one team calls for a timeout, both coaches and both teams can talk to one another all throughout that duration. They're both going to be well prepared going into this round, or these upcoming rounds, rather.
Remind everybody how timeouts work in this game. The coaches on both teams are permitted to speak to the players while the timeout is going on. The coaches cannot talk between rounds. They cannot talk in the prep phase. They cannot talk during downtimes. The only moments in a game that the coach is permitted to speak to the players would be during the timeouts. That's it. If neither team calls a timeout, coaches don't get to talk. It's that simple. I mean, the coaches can talk, but nobody's going to pick it up. No mic is going to hear you. You are locally muted by the admins, and then you'll see...
Locally?
Yeah, locally muted.
Nice. So
internationally muted.
I know there was a talk, because in other games there's been discussions about, like, should coaches not like be behind the players, can they touch them, etc. Because some people are fearing like hand signals, like a tap on the right shoulder would indicate like a certain strat or something like that. In Rainbow Six Siege, thankfully, we are not super limited on what we can do. Like, coaches can fist bump, they can celebrate, they can even like be like, woo, in the background and stuff. But they don't have that direct microphone access outside of tactical timeout. So, no direct communication can be had. But thankfully, coaches can still celebrate with their players throughout these rounds. Rogue, once again, trying to find a couple of openings in towards the building, open up doors and windows, and applying a bit of pressure wherever they can. That jail wall right-hand side of the screen is double reinforced, not getting opened up by Rogue as of yet, because we're approaching the CCTV area of the map instead. Crying, afraid of getting shot through that window, is going to prone below it, but these jammers are going to stop us dead in our tracks. It's going to buy even more time for DWG KIA, and we see now, as the pressure starts to get applied, Rin is going to fall back room by room, shooting drone after drone. 3 shots so far. It's a nice way of playing it, where you're kind of leapfrogging around the map, trying to get as much value as possible with the ground that you have to work with. Jail wall getting opened up. That's going to give Rogue another point of entry if they were to want to use it. Right now, it's a big priority here on the top floor on security CCTV.
Jammer denying the drones. Good drone work from Rogue, as they've got 7 of their drones in action. No more in their pockets, so no reserves to draw from. They've used up as much as they can. 6 now as they continue to lose stock of that good intel gathering device. One of the best gadgets in the entire game, and you start with 2 of them. You should use them. I don't care what level, what skill you play at. Your drones are crucial. Please, I beg you to use them. Rogue doing so well. Kanto, again, the standout performer for Rogue. By my count, he's broken double digits at this point after the rehost. He's picked up 6 kills. Before that, I had 4 or 5.
I believe he had 5, so I too have him at 11 in my head currently, so I agree with that sentiment, that statement. Spoit finds C4 on the ceiling. That's always nice to see. Plus 10 points in your pocket on the scoreboard, but also you might save a teammate later in the round. Wookieman with a nice deep angle from above finds Spoit instead, though. That's going to put a thorn in Rogue's side.
Cryan breaking in, making his own way through, but he finds a castle barricade right in front of the soft wall he just opened up. That's a bit of misfortune. One kill from Rin, but he gets naded out, or well, Katsang actually gets naded out. Funny thing, isn't it? Rogue lose 2. That's the first kill against DWG KIA, as after their timeout, they want to keep this close and then move to match point. Leon Gids makes numbers even, and then the diffuser's being planted as well. Yeah, that's hard support Leon Gids, by the way, baby. Down goes Cry, and Kanto will need to cover, and there he is. Good enough for 1. And now in the post plant, not good enough for more than 1. It's match point for DWG KIA as they sit atop the diffuser and will successfully shut it down. Rogue on the ropes in this match.
Yeah. What could have been Kanto Raketti in a 1v2 for the post plant ended up being nobody from Rogue against DWG KIA as they found all the kills and also got the defuser towards the end. 6-4 match point, and this is for everything Rogue. 2 more rounds taken to OT, then win 2 of the following 3. DWG KIA themselves, as spoken of earlier by you, Parker, they need a regulation win. They need to win before overtime, otherwise it won't matter for them. They can still beat Rogue in OT, sure, but they're still gonna go home, so they need this or the following round to go in their way. It'll be over for them.
Do or die for Rogue, not in the literal sense, but in this matchup in particular, it's especially do or die for DWG KIA.
Yeah.
They have at least secured overtime, which would on paper seem like a good idea, but in fact is or a good thing, but is actually not. DWG KIA need to win in regulation. They need all 3 points. If they walk away with a victory in overtime, not good enough. They still go home.
10 seconds to go.
We've only said goodbye to 1 team so far. It's a similar colored logo to the DWG KIA logo.
Yeah, actually.
Sonics, we said goodbye. That teal, aquamarine,
Turquoise.
whatever you want to call it. What did you just say?
So turquoise in turquoise? What do you call it in English?
Turquoise.
Okay, so it's turquoise in Danish.
I don't think it is.
That's my bad.
I think you're just making stuff up.
No, I swear. Turquoise.
Yeah, and in Canada, cats are dogs.
Okay, it's not like that. It's not that bad.
Either way. DWG KIA must win in regulation if they're 4% odds, the longest of long shots. In fact, they might actually have the longest shot of all of the teams. I'd love to go back and see which team actually has the lowest likelihood of making the playoffs, because hard pressed to imagine a team that would be in worse odds than DWG KIA. Either way, they must win in regulation. If Rogue can force them to overtime, that is a huge loss for DWG KIA. Rogue as well want all 3 points because they're in a tough fight for second place right now. They came into the day tied with Ninjas in Pajamas. Xset the favorites in the group at the moment, but again, it's anybody's game, including DWG KIA. It's the only group where nobody's locked in and nobody's been sent home.
Yeah. Slow, quiet round as the pressure kind of builds up here. DWG KIA not exposing themselves to too many gunfights right now. They're making Rogue fight for these opening kills. And of course, the first couple of engagement points here have been had. A little bit of damage done on both sides, nothing too major. But this opening kill comes in for Cryin onto Katsang. Cryin, of course, very low on HP himself, has to be cautious with his gunfight options. DWG KIA, it's coded instead of Fountain, holding on to a crucial part of the map, that centerpiece with that rotation, and Mirror behind him means that he can now cover 2 angles from his 1 position. Rogue not really having the easiest of times dealing with him. Yaz is down below, has an impact, can go for runouts or a bit of vertical damage, but the execute seems to be coming out from Rogue, perhaps with those Candelas.
And there's another Candela to go off as well. On the sandwich rappel, tossed on in. First kill goes to Spoit. He's had a very sluggish game so far. On this execute, more will add to it. Spoit leading the way on the entry after the first kill had already come in Rogue's favor, and he does a bit more damage, but the final kill seems to go to Kanto Raketti. We got ourselves a ball game. Round 12 on the docket, as Rogue again want to push this to overtime, and then one of their adversaries will be removed from potentially making it to the playoffs.
Yep. Let's see what the bomb side choice is, because right now they're hovering Armory again, which statistically, Armory Lockers is not a great, or Armory Arcas rather, isn't a great bomb site in any region really for the defenders. But even more so is that DWG KIA has gone here twice already, both of which they lost significantly. It was a flawless 5 versus 0, and the first time was a 4 versus 0. So it really has been a bit of a landslide of a round both times, and DWG KIA, regardless of that, are saying, let's do it a 3rd on the day. Now the question comes, Rogue, Do you do the same attack on security armory that you've been twice already with that Ying on the sandwich window rappel? Or do you change things up now and go for a different approach? Try and keep Damwon Kia away from predicting what you're going to be doing. That's usually what's going to go through the players' heads right now from both sides. So let's see. Leon gets the IGL of Rogue. What is he going to call for? It looks like it's an east-south spot. Nope, there's no one east. There is not a single attack on the east-hand side. I take that back. Either way, Easters will get droned out, but it looks to be a west side take regardless. Same similar situation for Rogue. They're going to say 2 times it worked. Let's make it 3. They pick on the Ying. Same exact operator lineup from last round.
Warden has been a staple of this match so far. More so than most, but I did want to point it out. Yes, playing a little bit too fast, a little bit too loose, and is the unfortunate victim of a bullet bend. Look at Rogue suddenly racking things up. Rin goes down next.
Right.
Rogue with 2 kills in very quick succession to start things off. Deepak tosses out a Candela and then goes on to drone. Again, we very rarely see Deepak thriving on the scoreboard because of how support-oriented he is as a player. But he's been mighty fine so far today. And I dare say that with the first half not being present because of the rehost, the Deepak might actually be out fragging Spoit today.
You'd think that.
You would think that. Woogieman next in line for damage. Coded with the run out, gives his position away. That's very valuable information for Rogue. They know that one hopped out on a ventilation. Woogieman finished off by Leon Gids, but it's in fact the nade that drops him and confirms from Cryan. All the work being done by multiple players. Katsang dancing around a nade that drops over towards Sandwich. First kill for Damwon. Comes to Deepak as Coded gets the pick. Katsang destroyed a single kill. Coded, the last man standing for Damwon Kia, watching as their hopes, their dreams of making it to the playoffs go up in smoke. Oh, he's got a good read on it, but he's jumped on by Kanto Raketti. Rogue secures overtime, and that does it for the Koreans. Damwon Kia knocked out of the groups. Rogue will still fight for 2 points in overtime.
That they will. Oh my days. And then all of a sudden, it's just Rogue finding so many kills. Kenzo had a couple of rounds. Dapik had a round. Sport had a round. But Cryan, in that final round to bring us to OT, found 3 kills, essentially, almost back to back to back, and really opened up the round. And it looks like that the armory choice was wrong for Damwon Kia. They had faith in it. They thought they could figure out a way to take Rogue off that attack, but they really couldn't. And now they're forced into a very unfortunate position of having to fight for OT despite having been sent home with this exact outcome. Damwon Kia needed a regulation win to have any chance of staying in this tournament and making it to playoffs. So the scoreline being 6-6 means they are no longer able to go there. They are going home. But of course, they will play out this match, and they have one more later today. They'll also have to play out. They can't just literally fly home as they lost. Doesn't work like that.
I mean, didn't Rogue do that at SI?
Okay.
Attackers are moving out to
Hey, stay and sign some things for all your fans. No.
Calm down there, Parky. Come on now.
Oh. Anywho.
Different event this time around.
Oh,
okay?
totally different event. Completely different roster. I actually don't think anybody from that roster is still on this Rogue team. I don't think so.
No, is it? I think it was.
That was the old, mostly German roster.
What was Cryan? I don't think so. No.
I don't think he was on
No,
that,
he
no.
wasn't on that. No.
It was like Rips, Corey, Aces.
I was gonna say Cryan was on a different German roster with some of those players, but not that particular roster.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right.
In terms of the matchups today, by the way, on this stream, at the conclusion of this matchup, a devastated Damwon Kia will play next against Xset. They will be going in with their heads not exactly at the height that they had hoped for. Things will go from bad to worse for them as they drop those last 2 rounds in a row and they forfeit the very first pick.
Yep, and that seems to be the story right now for Damwon Kia, is that they're losing the opening kill quite frequently and finding themselves in a position that's less favorable for them. That's not where they want to be, but at this point. I mean, I'm sure they know, too, the reality of the situation is that they are in a really bad position right now. I'm sure that's hard on the mental game as well, but they still gotta fight it out. If anything, have some say in who gets to go to that top 4 position, because the 9 Rogue, the 2 points, only granting 1 could do just that.
I mean, they've already been a bit of a spoiler to Rogue, right?
Have.
A victory in overtime for Rogue gives them 2 of the 3 points, but this is the final day. You're going to be fighting for every single point you can get, and Rogue have dropped the ball on that one. And I said that if DWG KIA are not able to make it themselves, they can be that spoiler.
But they can. We'll see just how badly they can do it. 1 minute left on the clock, 5 versus 3. Leon gets planning down that diffuser right now, but no DWG KIA nearby to do anything about it. That seems to be how Telos plays out for both teams right now.
And Coded swings back as the diffuser gets planted, so the objective play for Rogue is good. Happens into the noses of DWG KIA. Low HP for Coded, Woogieman at full. Spoit the only one dead for Rogue, and the remainder of Coded is finished off. All eyes on Woogieman. What can he accomplish? Diffuser continuing to go. Rogue looking for the lead. All they need is a single pick to do it. Woogieman with 1. He knows that there's a second nearby, but he's running out of time, and Cryin sends him away. Would you believe it? Rogue have their first lead of the entire match, and it comes with them in overtime on match point now.
That it does. Now, for the first time in a while, DWG KIA gets to go back to their attack, where they were finding a lot more success than they did on the defense, because the first half was 4 rounds to 2 in favor of DWG KIA, because they started on that attacking side. Since DWG KIA went onto the defense, they only ended up winning 2 rounds, and they are far spread apart. So DWG KIA in a great spot to bring it to 7-7. Then they gotta go back to that unfortunate defending situation that they're met by. Rogue will opt for a ventilation defense, which last time, well, they ended up winning that bomb site. So let's see if they can do it once more, or if DWG KIA will prevail this time around. Also, I believe, doing some thinking in my head, Parker, Daypig had 0 kills, I believe, before the rehost, which means Spoit is actually on top, but barely.
10 seconds remaining.
Apologies.
No, you're good.
I'm actually just trying to piss off all of the Spoit fans,
I think
so
you
that
are,
I can drive up my impressions on Twitter.
But
That's
then-
really just what it comes
But
down to.
I'm going to defend them so that my impressions get driven up, because they're like, oh, Pingu's here for us.
And then they have to choose a side.
No, they'll do both. They'll give
They'll
you
do-
hate and be like, thank you, Pingu, for correcting
And
Parker.
then we both
benefit. Exactly.
Our impressions.
Stonks.
Our impressions. Yes. Absolutely. Crazy to think that Rogue has not led at all in this actual matchup.
Till now. Yeah.
And it comes at a good time. But again, I would be broken. My spirit would be broken. And I always hesitate to lay into the body language that we see from these teams, but the looks on DWG KIA's faces when overtime popped up, you could tell they knew that was it.
Yeah.
Their chances of going to the playoffs evaporated. They're done. They'll get a single point here at minimum, maybe 2 if they win the next 2 rounds. But that's not good enough to catch up to Rogue. That's not good enough to catch up to Nip. It's certainly not good enough to catch up to XSET. They actually couldn't have even caught up to XSET today based on the points that were available. So
That's true. Very big disparity between top and bottom in this group. And you're right, I mean, when your entire goal gets ripped away from you in the middle of the game as OT begins, it can be very hard to find your spirit. Cryin once again, doing some ratting in a corner. Sport finds a kill onto Katsang. It's Rogue continuing this trend of finding opening kills back to back to back here.
And I like that you point that out, because DWG KIA got 3 opening picks in the first half and then 2 in the second half. But since round 8, DWG KIA have a single opening pick. That is it. Everything else has been Rogue cracking open this round, eliminating a very crucial member of DWG KIA's artillery, and then using that to their advantage. And here, hard-pressed to look at the lineup of DWG KIA and think that there's somebody more valuable than a Hibana. Katsang just not getting it done. Rin walks in, and they're just going to throw everything at the window, everything at the wall. You know how the song goes. Woogieman doing some damage, but what can he accomplish? Everybody from Rogue is still upright, still with a pulse. Woogieman and Yas as the last 2 members of DWG KIA. That is it. Rogue waiting, biding time. This is Thunderbird in play, by the way, so these injured members of Rogue can get themselves back up. Down goes Yas, and it's Woogieman in a 1v5. Will Rogue get this done? Yes, flawlessly. 2 points for Rogue as they silence DWG KIA in overtime. What an impressive comeback for the European team. They're looking to keep their playoff hopes alive after they end the hopes of DWG KIA.
Yep, and Rogue, they find success later in the day because the beginning of it was a little bit rough from their side. Unfortunately, as you mentioned, Parker, we got to send home DWG KIA. They still have a game to play, of course, against XZ, but this will be it for their dreams of playoffs.
Well, DWG KIA will be in action against XZ next, but they're not really going to be playing for much there. At this point, it's really just going to be XZ trying to extend their point total forward because XZ haven't clinched yet an actual spot. We know DWG KIA is going home, but XZ are not necessarily guaranteed to go through. XZ will be in action later today as well against Ninjas in Pajamas. As for Rogue, they've got a bit of a break. They're off for about 4 hours until they go up against Ninjas in Pajamas for what will be potentially an incredibly important match.
Yes.
That could send one of those two teams into the playoffs. We know the second team that's going home. It's DWG KIA. Unfortunate for them and unfortunate for APAC fans. As for us, while we admire the legs of DPAC, we have a break ready for you. We'll toss it up and we'll come back to talk about that matchup. Well, there's only so many spots when we look at the playoffs and we look at the teams that have to go home, we know that entering today there were 5 spots remaining after W7M phase, and Elevate clinched their spots yesterday. Yep. After the results of this morning's matches, on the other stream and on our stream, no team has clinched their spot in either of those groups, but we do know that one team is going home. We say goodbye to DWG KIA, and here's the match summary for you, just in case you were curious as to what exactly transpired. Rogue coming out on top in a hard-fought 8-6 battle.
Look at that, 17-7 on Cancer Kid, 93% cost, 4-0 on entry. Lanto Raketti is back.
Lanto's back, baby. Deepak 6-7, Spoit 9-9. You were technically correct. Spoit did ultimately get more kills than Deepak. So congratulations, Nick. You were correct. No real strong performances on the side of DWG KIA. Woogieman had a very good game to start off with. If you recall, at one point, I think he was 5-1 at the beginning, but he fell off. And the rest of the team, Katsang and Rin, their stats very underwater. Those are the performances you don't want to see when your hopes of going to the playoffs are on the line.
So you're right. You need more than that. I think we got groups here as well. The standings, on your screen right now. 9, 8, 6, and 4. So it looks relatively close across the board, right? And you would not be wrong to say that, except DWG KIA, they're grayed out. They cannot make it to playoffs. They can still take points off XZ, for example, in the next game to come. But right now it's between NIP, Rogue, and XZ on who's going to finish top 2. And those 2 teams go to playoffs. That last 3rd team, they're also going home.
XZ playing up against DWG KIA next on this stream right here in just a matter of minutes. Could be enough to propel XZ into the playoffs. If they win, that might be enough because Rogue wouldn't be able to catch them. And while NIP might be able to, that's all that matters because DWG are out of the running. So that's when math starts to become more of an important factor here. Rogue will be playing Ninjas in Pajamas later today, and that will be a crucial matchup where it's almost certain that a spot for the playoffs will be on the line between those 2 teams. It's a sad day, frankly. It's always a sad day when we have to say goodbye to teams. We've lost 2 of the 16 so far. There's only so many spots. We're going to be saying goodbye to a couple more teams, not just in this group, but across the entirety of this broadcast over the next 8 or so hours until the remaining 7 matches are all done. So we hope you enjoyed the first match. I did.
It was fun.
It was exciting. You and I seem to always get these long matches. We never really get one-sided matches. So that's if you like close siege, you just got to watch him and I cast. That's it. It's that simple.
We're in B stream today throughout the entirety of today, so that's where we're at.
We got another match for you in just a couple minutes, though. XZ and DWG KIA will do battle. A crucial match for XZ where they could clinch a spot into the playoffs. Not much on the line for DWG KIA, frankly. So are they going to show up? How are they going to play after a demoralizing loss? Let's find out when we get ready for our next matchup. But of course, a break before we get there. We'll see you in a couple minutes.